So, I was in the process of setting up the camera to record, and Howard's son, that I did not know was going to be there, was sitting at the table and really wanted to be recorded because he didn't know enough about me. Even though ahead of time that I would be recording live the conversation, he decided that right when I was setting up the phone, he wanted to tell me that he didn't really feel comfortable with the situation without knowing more about me first. But regardless, that's not what I came there for. So just to kind of talk a little bit about the situation and what Howard's thoughts were on the whole Fair Oaks thing. Um, he thinks that people should give them more of a chance to fix the problem rather than bailing. He's very upset with the stores that are taking Fairlife milk off the shelf because of um, what this company ARM does. Through his professional opinion on how dairy and farming operations go, there is no farmer that wants their animals to be mistreated. They don't hire people to come beat on their animals and stuff, and it's not the farmer's fault directly. It's the employees that work for him. He does believe that the management should be tightened up and that um, they should take action that way, but he does not believe that people should just start bailing on Fairlife because of what some other people are doing. Uh, his opinion on the whole thing was he thinks it's very much orchestrated. Thinks that ARM had known exactly when certain situations would be going down the way that they did. Typically, whenever you have cows that are pregnant and they have, calves, you don't take that cow with afterbirth hanging out of it still because it's very, um, it's not sanitary. And at the same time, you leave that cow susceptible for infections and things of that nature. So you won't take a chance on hampering the income that you may acquire from using that cow for milking or any kind of food production, something of that nature, by mistreating them that way. So he was saying that that part didn't make sense to him. Why would you take your profit and put it in a bad situation and put it on a carousel for milking while you stress the cow out even more? And normally, whenever the cows go into the carousels to begin with, they're offered some kind of treat, some kind of molasses-based grain, something sweet that they like, and they will be pulled onto the carousel for milking that way. Um, and in general, the cows are not uncomfortable when they go in for milking. It's simply like an amusement ride, but not so much explained like an amusement ride. They come in, they're enticed with their treat. They come onto the carousel with their treat, and they walk onto it willingly. They go around, they know the process, they get milked, and they walk right out. And it's almost like they look forward to it every day because it's the only time that they get that type of sweet treat or whatever it is. And he was saying the fact that the operation was operating the way it was, in the manner it was, where people were kicking the cows and throwing the cows, and even in the worst situations, you don't see stuff like that happen. Even in the worst situations, it almost seems like that directly points to bad employees that just don't give a crap about what's going on with your establishment. Basically, the clean cut dry version is a lot of it seems like it was orchestrated or planned out, that they knew certain people would be working at a certain time that didn't really care about the company. A lot of them that are working there were not necessarily legit employees. Maybe some of them were illegal employees. Maybe some of them weren't trained properly. Maybe some of them really didn't care. But as a company owner of a farm that you're going to be making money from, you don't want that kind of abuse and that kind of mistreatment of your animals, because when that happens, you just lose money in the grand scheme of things. So it's more important to have your operation running correctly than to be abusing animals, possibly hindering the money that you make, which that's exactly what went on here. That it directly points at the employees that work there and not so much the management. Yes, the management, the fact that they didn't do their job by managing and keeping track of what's going on, but really the bulk of the problem being the employees abusing the animals. So, we talked about that, and he's just really upset that like Joel Lasco came forward and said we're taking all their every Fairlife thing off the shelf. We're not going to sell Fairlife anymore, and we're going to be done with that completely. Why would you do that? He was saying that if you had an employee come in and grab a box of Pop-Tarts on the shelf, and your child wanted Pop-Tarts, and they crushed the box, and you came in and seen that crushed box of Pop-Tarts, would you go to that employee and say, well, you're fired, uh, you don't need to be damaging the product that way? Or would you try and retrain the situation and make it better? Or um, would you at least give that company a chance to fix that problem before you stop buying their product? You would say something to management. Management would make some kind of action against that employee, and then you would give them a chance to fix the situation before you just completely take their product off the shelf, or you will stop buying that product from that store. He was also saying that would be like, just go ahead, it's fine. I got cash in my wallet if you need money. Um, he was saying that if you bought an automobile and that you really liked that specific brand, and that automobile was something was wrong with it from the manufacturer, would you take that automobile back and say, look, can you please fix this? Something's not right with it. Or would you just quit buying it altogether just because something was wrong one time? No, you give them a chance to fix the problem because you like something, you've been buying it for a while. You don't just bail on them. And he was saying that as a farmer, Mr. Hauert was saying that I'm very upset with these stores for just bailing on Fairlife like that and saying let's take their product off the shelf completely because of some ignorant employees that were abusing the animals. He said most of this stuff does not even make sense because as a farmer, you don't want your animals abused. Hi, Charlotte. As a farmer, you don't want employees doing this type of thing. And he said it's very upsetting to me, and it almost seems like a political stunt with all these companies coming forward and saying, look, we're just going to take the products off the shelf completely. We're going to stop carrying their products because they want to be noted for something. They knew the videos would go viral, so to entice more people to shop at their stores and respect them, they want to see big store names like that react to products and say, okay, we're just going to get rid of the product. Well, then people will respect them more, especially these millennials, this younger generation that buys into a lot of the nonsense that's going on online and on the TV and stuff like that, where people are trying to dramatize everything that would make those stores more popular. So they had to seize the moment, and that's exactly what they did. But he said, you don't do that. As a CEO of a company, you don't take an entire brand off the shelf until you give them a chance to actually fix what's going on. So, you know, it's it's just half a dozen, one six or the other. How do you handle the situation? Management has to step in and management has to fix the problem. If you give management a chance to fix the problem, maybe they can make this situation better. And that's why they want to put new people in place to kind of figure out where they want to go with it. Safety wise, cleanliness wise, animal treatment wise. Uh, what do you do? To me, um, I'm not going to consume the product anymore until I actually figure out and see what's going on. After that last video, watching the cows pushed off the carousel, and when they're falling off of it, they just keep running the machine until the cow falls right out of it. Whether or not they're getting pushed in between, pipes, or falling off of it, they're having to strap their feet up to keep them on. They're hanging off the bars on that hold the machine together, the corral together, and kicking the cows and jamming them into the slots. What do you do? What do you deal with the employees, because that's not obviously that's not in the handbook that says hang from the pipes and kick the cows in, beat them in the back of the head, beat them with branding irons, throw them up over into the truck. Obviously, common sense would tell you, and Howard is right, that stuff is not in the handbook anymore. They're not telling people to do that. People choose to do that. The reason you as the consumer should be mad is because management's not stepping up faster to say, wait, you can't do that. You're fired. We got to get better employees that treat the animals in better here. Or, hey, you took a cow that was birthing that still has afterbirth hanging out of them, or placenta, whatever it is, and you brought them into the corral. That cow cannot be birthed. That cow's got to be taken back outside and cleaned up and treated properly instead of bringing them into a milking corral. That's not even company protocol. So he said a lot of that stuff doesn't make sense because a dairy farmer would never do that. Because now you lose money. You leave yourself susceptible for bacteria infection and everything else with that cow, and you know that's not even remotely part of a plan to have that cow on that carousel being ran around, um, the carousel being milked while afterbirth is still hanging out of them, leaving them to increase the chances of bacteria infections and things of that nature. So the conversation was really good between us. Uh, his son just didn't know much about me and didn't want to be on video yet until he knew more about me. But I told them before I even went out there that was the whole purpose of driving an hour and 45 minutes, was to come out and film the whole thing live. And his son said, yeah, but I don't really feel comfortable. I said, well, now you're going to make me explain to everybody what happened and what's going on. And I told your father before I even come out here that why I would be videoing. And he apologized for it at the end and stuff like that. And he said, so we'll come back and we'll do another video. Just wanted to know more about you and hear your thoughts on all these things, and just know that you're not some crazy person trying to attack us like ARM and then put us up on front of the camera and trying to bash, grass-fed farmers or something. And I said, not by any means, man. I love meat. Most of my life is lived off of meat. So, um, they did agree that the animals don't need to be treated that way. They did agree that a lot of the stuff that was going on seemed like it was more personally orchestrated by ARM and not so much by the company themselves. They also agreed that the people should have waited to see how the situation was rectified before pulling the products off the shelf, like Jewel Osco, Tony's Supermarket, places like that, before doing that, and that they think it was very much a political stunt to boost the popularity of those stores in the eye of what's going on. So, it was a good visit. It's rainy right now, a lot of rain out here. We're going to come back and do it again so I can actually see the farm. The farm is about a mile down the road. And, I apologize that it didn't go the way that I thought it would, guys. So let me know your thoughts.